Hello, everybody. I'm Philip Cashian, the head of composition at the Royal Academy of Music, and I'm joined by four composers, students, and ex-students at the Academy. And in 2017, I was approached by the Art Society with the idea of setting up a competition, a composers competition for our postgraduate composers to write a piece for the Art Society's 50th anniversary. For a concert which was held in King's Place. And Joe Howard, who is with us, along with Zhang Gill, Gareth, Moorcraft, and Nuno da Rocha, was the first person to write a piece for this 50th anniversary concert in King's Place, and the first person to win the first of three competitions that we've had over the past 3 years. So, Joe, do you remember the premiere in King's Place? And could you tell us a little bit about the piece that you wrote?
Yes, yeah, it was a great premiere, a big concert all around the theme of London, and my piece also was part of that theme, and I based it on a pamphlet written by a Victorian writer called Henry Mayhew, who had been on a balloon flight over the city in, I think, the 1840s. So quite an amazing experience for him to have been on that and seen the city from above. And that's what I based my piece for soprano, string quartet and piano on.
And who performed it?
It was performed by Helen Semple, a soprano, along with soloists from the London Mozart Players. Yeah.
And was that a good experience?
Oh yeah, it was excellent. I mean, fantastic musicians. It's always great to work with musicians who are so invested in bringing to life a piece, and that was fantastic for me.
Right, fabulous. So it was amazing for us as a department at the Academy to have this fantastic opportunity to run a competition with a prize, first prize which you won, and the second prize also, which Alex Wolf got and wrote a piece for. So, I mean, clearly to get paid to write a piece of music is at a kind of young stage in your career that you're at a great opportunity, isn't it? Is this one of the first paid commissions that you've had?
It's certainly one of the first and the biggest, and it was absolutely invaluable to me because it paid for my fees for the full year, which was
fantastic.
Absolutely invaluable for me. I was a bit short before that.
So what did you have to submit when you entered the competition?
So I submitted a sort of a plan for what I would do in the piece, and a piece that I'd already written. And the piece that I'd already written was a vocal piece written by an even older writer from the Elizabethan times, who wrote about how the devil gets to you in the night. And
right.
That's how I applied, and I wanted to. My proposal for the piece was to write something which encapsulated both sides of London that I think about, which is the kind of exciting hustle and bustle, but also the kind of monster that the city is. That it's and that's something that Henry Mayhew, the writer that I chose, encapsulated as well, with this soaring flight. But also he was someone who wrote a lot about the state of the poor in the city, and he had a whole section about what he calls the Leviathan metropolis, with smoke and fog and chimneys and he's dingy red seas and brick billows, and all these great phrases that he used to describe these two sides of the city. That was what I was aiming to portray.
Sounds very atmospheric and dramatic.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the most important thing when I sit down to try and write a piece of music is to try and tell a story, and that's what I've got from this journey, and that's what I tried to put into the piece.
And has the piece had any more performances since the premiere at King's Place?
It has. It has. It was played again last summer when we were allowed to go to concerts at the St Marylebone Church Festival, and it was, and again it was a great concert with a few other pieces from Academy composers in, and one by you, Phil, I think, as well.
Oh yes, I remember that. And was it the same performers?
No, totally different performers. So it was great to have that experience of seeing which different bits of the piece came out in each performance. Yeah.
And do you have an extract of a piece of yours that we could listen to now?
Well, I've got an extract of the piece that I wrote for the London piece that I've just been talking about. I'm going to play a sample of it. It's an 18-minute piece, but it's just a short sample, and I think this is going to be the bit where the balloon takes off into flight.
And is this the big early on in the piece?
Yeah, this is just a few minutes in after sort of introductory. The piece is split into 5 sections, and this is the end of the first going into the second.
Okay, let's listen to that. So Nuno da Roca, you're the most recent recipient of winning the Art Society Postgraduate Composers Competition, which you won first prize in a year ago. And your commission was to write a piece for a concert at the Royal Academy of Music, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And who did you end up writing a piece for?
So I wrote this piece for the Sainsbury Royal Academy Soloists. So it is a piece for strings, for a string ensemble.
And like Joe, you're a PhD student at the Academy, aren't you?
Yeah.
But and you're commuting back and forth. Well, pre-lockdown you were, weren't you? Just tell us a little bit about your background and your current.
Yeah, this. So I'm on the 3rd year of my PhD program at the Academy, and in the first 2 years I was commuting between Lisbon and London, so twice per month. So it's It was a bit stressful, but I have family, so I need to. But all the things were great, and I was really happy before this new weird situation, and now we are here by video twice per month again, but by video.
It's surprising how well that this is working, isn't it? Doing things by video for composers, particularly.
Yeah. Normally, I tell people that this new situation is actually really common for composers because we are always alone.
We're always self-isolating, aren't we?
Exactly. So actually, it's the same, but it's weird because we know that the world is too. So it's uncomfortable.
Yes. And can you tell us something about the piece that you wrote for the Royal Academy soloists? For how many? It's for string ensemble, isn't it? Exactly how many string instruments did you write?
13.
So violins, violas, cellos, and
double bass. One double bass, exactly. I think it's 4, 3, 3, 2, 1.
So four violins, 3 violas. 3
cellos. No, 4 first violins,
okay.
3 second violins, 3 violas, 2 cellos, and 1 double bass. And this piece is called Diptych. It was premiered in YouTube live.
On a live stream, that's right.
On a live stream in last September. Actually, it was the first time in my life that I didn't hear the piece till the premiere. So it was a kind of a good exercise for the score, because the score had to, how can I say, defend the music by himself, you know. So I didn't have any contact with the Clio Gold. It was the first violin in this concert, and so I was happy for that. Weird situation again, but I was happy. It is a piece divided in 2 parts, so we have 2 different movements. And the thing that I can tell about that is connected with my PhD program and my PhD research, that is about writing with inexact pitch notation. So I use some models where the performers can choose the pitch to play in that moment of the playing. So, and this piece is, let's say, 90% with inexact pitch notation. So, so thank you to the Art Society to give me this opportunity to write new material for my PhD to actually.
And do you have an extract of the piece that you can play to us?
Yes, I think I will play the last part of the first movement. Yeah.
How many movements are there in the piece?
2 movements.
Okay, so let's hear the last part of the first movement.
Yeah.
And Zhang, you've just graduated from the Academy, haven't you, on the Master's Programme, and you're the most recent winner of the Art Society Composers Competition at the Academy. So tell us a little bit about where you are now you've graduated and what you're going to be writing.
So it was a bit of a strange time sort of graduating as COVID hit. So I ended up having to move back home to Northumberland, where I'm from, for the last part of the MA. But completed everything, and have been working on this piece, which is a percussion quartet. I was given sort of free rein. I could choose what I liked to write, and I proposed a percussion quartet.
This is for Academy students to perform.
This is for Academy students, yeah. So so that'll be performed by students.
And why did you choose a percussion quartet?
Well, I've always wanted to write a percussion quartet, and so thank you to the Art Society, because this is a great opportunity to be able to, dialogue with the percussionists at RAM even after I've left. And I'd had an idea for a piece based on the stone circles on Macri Moor at the Isle of Arran, which I go to almost every year in the west of Scotland, where they have these incredible sort of megalithic stone circles that are getting on to 3,000 years old, and timber circles they found beneath that date to even 2000 BC, like a long time. Just the environment of the place, I could sort of hear like a percussion quartet coming together, and those kind of dialogues between like measured and unmeasured material, and skins and wood and metal, and just something quite raw. So I decided to write a percussion quartet.
So is it the atmosphere of the place that you hope to capture in the new piece?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things you sort of don't know unless you're there. But it's an amazing place, because I mean people think that the circles were built there because in the summer solstice the sun comes across and hits this kind of cleft in the valley, and comes down to these stones. And I sort of standing in the middle of the circle, you're kind of very aware of the circles around you, and then the circle, there's more stone circles and cairns and stuff around that, and then the hills, and then the sun coming around. And I really like that idea of sort of like these kind of orbits that were happening, but contracting as they get closer to the center. So I'm going to try. I'm halfway through writing the piece, and it's consists of quite a few sort of phases, I call them, where you start off the longest phase, and it's kind of every phase you contract, and the material gets shorter and more intense, and quite an intense ending. Yeah.
So it must be good to be working on a piece you're being paid to write as soon as you've graduated.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah. I mean, this is, again, it's so, especially at this kind of time, and being so sort of isolated from everyone. We do, obviously we all do like work on our own, but it is nice to, actually get performing and get things done. So just having the financial support to be able to keep working on this kind of thing, even when you're not with players, is amazing.
Yeah, and you will be able to through Zoom be able to collaborate with the percussionists at some point, I think, whilst they're rehearsing the piece and trying things out. So obviously you don't have an extract from the piece to play us yet. Do you have something else that you could let us listen to?
So I'm going to play just the opening of a clarinet trio that I wrote while at RAM, which is premiered by Mark Simpson, Hugh Watkins, and Zoe Martley. So it was an incredible selection of people to be playing it, and it's sort of based on this miniature by Stravinsky, Por Pablo Picasso, a little clarinet miniature, and I've just tried to warp it a bit and change the viewpoints. And I really enjoyed the premiere, so I just thought I'd play the first sort of minute of it.
When was the premiere?
It was in February, so just before restrictions came in. it's the last thing I've had played. So yeah.
So it's a very recent piece.
Very recent, yeah. That's the most recent recording I have, really.
And what's the piece called?
It's called Sun, Drums and Soil.
Okay, let's have a listen. Gareth Moorcraft, you're a graduated PhD student, aren't you? Yes. And you're now working as a member of staff at the Academy. And tell us about your involvement with the Art Society competition.
Cool. So I've actually been involved with 2 projects supported by the Art Society. The first was a collaboration with Riddlesdown Collegiate in Croydon. This is actually ongoing because of the virus restrictions and things. We haven't had the performance yet, but it's a really exciting educational project in which I'm composing a piece which brings together all of the ensembles, or as many as possible, at the school to perform a big piece together. So they
what sort of age group are you working with?
It's quite a wide range. So as far as I understand, it's going to be ages 12 up to sixth formers who will be leaving for university soon. So they have junior orchestra, senior orchestra, jazz club, guitar club, percussion ensembles. It's amazing. There's so much going on there. And they asked for a piece which would allow all of these groups to perform together in the end of year school concert. So this was a really interesting challenge for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's quite a difficult thing to do with different levels of ability and very diverse types of instruments.
Exactly. So some of the parts were sort of pre-grade, grade 1. So it was really interesting thinking about how you can find sort of rewarding important parts for players who aren't confident with notation yet. And also we had flexible instrumentation. So people from different instruments, different groups could all kind of join together playing the same parts. And then we also had certain parts in the piece which were slightly higher grades, for example, grade 2 to 3, and then some solo parts which were more like grade 5. So I've tried to make the piece as flexible as possible. And I understand that we're going to be doing some workshops with the different groups at the school to sort of coach them and help the kids get the piece together for the performance. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's fantastic. Such a good thing to be doing these days when a lot of schools don't even have a music department or indeed a music teacher anymore, which is a tragedy. Which kind of leads us very nicely into the other project you've been involved with, which the Art Society has helped fund the Academy with earlier this year. Which is
in February this year, we ran our first Composers Club at the Royal Academy of Music, organised by the Composition Department. This was generously funded by the Art Society, and we invited 12 young composers from state schools around London to come and work with PhD composition students who were tutors on the course, and some really fantastic postgraduate performers as well. So when we were just starting this course, there was actually a survey released by Sound and Music called Can Compose. I expect some of you might be familiar with it, and it was really highlighting the fact that there are so few opportunities for young composers young musicians to compose, to write music, and especially to hear their pieces. So we thought we'd put on a scheme which allowed these school-age composers to come and work with the amazing performers at the Academy, and it was a huge success, I think.
And Joe, you were involved in this, weren't you? You were one of the composers working with Gareth.
Yeah, so I helped Gareth out tutoring over 2 weekends. Was just blown away by some of the ideas that came out of the pieces written by the kids. It was a really exciting time, and you felt that the students had really a great opportunity to try something out completely new and in a safe kind of space for exploration and creativity.
Did their pieces get played?
Yes, so all of the pieces got performed by the students at Academy at the end of the second weekend. And we got some really great postgraduate performers to help out on the day, and they really invested a lot of time and effort to make sure the performances were really good.
It's fantastic.
We recorded pieces for them as well. We made recordings so they could use them in their A-level music courses and sort of share their music online and things. So that was really positive too. So we went over 2 Sundays. We went from like the very beginning of the process, instrumental demonstrations from our performers, and some general discussions about how we notate ideas, how we might develop a musical idea, etc., and sort of guided the composers through the process. And seeing the results at the end was really amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And this is an ongoing project as well, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So we're running the course again in February next year. So advertising and invitations will go out for that soon. And I understand that it's also inspired some similar courses from the jazz and percussion departments. So this model for inviting younger musicians to the Academy is taking on in other departments as well.
Such an important thing to be doing, really is. And Gareth, are we going to hear a bit of your music now?
Yes. I don't have a recording of the Arts Society piece, but I'd like to share an extract from a piece called Cycles, which I wrote for the Uproar Ensemble. This is quite a recent ensemble which has been set up as the Contemporary Music Ensemble for Wales by Michael Rafferty. And it was part of a very exciting scheme they had in 2018-2019 called 10 times 10, which was in which they commissioned 10 new pieces from composers linked to Wales. So it was amazing to be part of that. I'm just going to play an extract from the very last movement. I tried something new here, and the ensemble were amazing at realizing it. So most of the players are playing in independent speeds, not all in the same speed with the conductor. Just for some context, it comes after a very still moment, and I wanted the piece to end with a kind of burst or flurry of activity, and that's what you're about to hear.
Let's have a listen. Well, thanks to the four of you for talking about the pieces that you've written, and thanks to the Arts Society for having such a brilliant idea of having a composers competition for the last 3 years for our postgrad composers. It's an absolutely incredible opportunity for you all to have had, an extremely generous one as well. So thanks for listening to us, and goodbye.